Hello and welcome. My name is Abby. My pronouns are she, her, and today I'm going to teach you the joys and the basics of embroidery. Embroidery has a history of 30,000 years, even farther when it comes to regular sewing by hand, when the first humans started sewing with plant fibers and bone needles. And what you'll need is a good embroidery hoop, a material of your choice. I have these flour sack towels, which are really nice, but cross stitch is really good for beginners because it already has little areas where you can see perforations. A good pair of scissors or a thread cutter. I lost my thread cutter, so this would be a good alternative. A nice set of threads, maybe a bobbin set, and good needles. But this came with my set. It's a little tutorial book on how to do different things. Of course, you can do things like this little rose or this owl, peace sign, customize your own alphabet, maybe even these little flowers. It even has a guide in 3 different languages on how to do cross stitches and back stitches and that sort of thing, French knots, but we're just going to be hitting the basics today. So let us have a little tutorial on how to do a back stitch first, which is the easiest of all stitches next to running stitch, although I am not a fan of running stitch, if I'm going to be completely honest. So I already, oh gosh, never mind. So I have a piece of scrap fabric that would work just fine for this demonstration. And I'm just gonna unfold it. I'm gonna take the biggest part because, you know, logic. Cut like that. This is also really good for hand sewing, by the way. And just for this demonstration, I am going to get a brightly colored piece of embroidery thread, just so you guys can see. And I'm going to find some place to get a, there we, no, my apologies. There we are. There we go. We've got ourselves a nice starter thread. We're just gonna make sure that the ends meet up with a certain area. But we're actually not gonna tie it on the needle. We're just gonna have it looped over at the end, like that, just hanging off the loop. Because it's much better and easier that way, and you don't have to fumble with scissors every time you want to cut it off. And now we take one end and carefully thread the needle like so. Sorry for the music in the background, that's the class next door. And it takes you a few tries, so don't be discouraged if you don't get it on the first try. Oh, would you look at that? Second time's a charm, kids. And we just pull it over. Oh goodness, I hate when that happens. Don't worry, it's just a little compiling or just, yeah. We're gonna make sure that the ends, they meet up. Sorry if you didn't see that. So we're gonna make sure that these are equal, and we have to keep pulling the needle to the end of the threads. Sorry if it's all jumbled up. And we're just gonna keep, oh goodness, pulling until we have equal size. And then once it's equal, we'll be able to tie on the knot. So, right there, right there. Right now, considering that this is 2 sides of the thread together, it'll be really stronger than a single knot on a single thread. So, just gonna tie it together like so. Zoop. Oh, whoops. There we go. And we already have our knotted thread. There we go. And I'm just going to start right about here on the fabric. And we are going to start by pulling through till the knot catches securely. Oh goodness. Sometimes it likes to catch even before the knot reaches because of the type of fabric, but this is just a simple plain black cotton that I use. That is a scrap from my Halloween costume. So no judgment. And see, we have our first hole. Oh goodness, it's scrunched. That's because a lot of the fibers from the fabric itself have unraveled. So, oh goodness, my apologies. I am just gonna cut that off. And now I show you the stitch. It starts by first going down like you're doing a regular running stitch. Oh goodness. It's okay if your thread gets all wonky like that. You can easily find a way to fix it. You can make them as wide or as short as you want, but for this demonstration I'm just doing something big enough for you guys to see. We go down like it's a regular running stitch, but then we skip that. Ow. Go back up, but we don't make another stitch. We actually go back through the previous hole that the first little stitch went through. Oh goodness, I hate when this happens. But don't worry kids, we are here to save the day. And just like that, we're fixed. Okay, back to our project. We are just gonna pull that thread till it catches again. But now we're gonna do the interesting thing and go back through the previous hole that we made. And just like that, you have a back stitch. Now, if you wanted to do this for like a regular hand sewing or embroidery project, you would just do this again and again until you finish what needed to be finished. But for now, this is just a demo for you guys. I hope you learned something quite valuable. And now we're gonna move on to our real embroidery project. I'm just gonna cut the threads here and knot off on our demonstration. This is perfectly good thread, so I am gonna save this for a different project. Now, I will teach you how to assemble the embroidery hoop, although I already did assemble it. And I am also surprisingly missing the thumb screw to this, so this is very sad. Other than that, we should be fine. So usually this would have a little screw that would go on, and then this little silicone bit right here would secure the end of it to make sure it doesn't hurt anybody. So we are going, goodness. So I'm just gonna put this little needle guy aside. Oh, there you are. And so we have our two hoops, the outer hoop and the inner hoop. And I am going to show you how to put it on. First, you select the area you want first. I've already sketched out a simple design, like the little anarchy symbol, nothing more, nothing less. It's gonna be black with red. I've got it right here. I can let you see some past projects when I'm done. And right there, I get the inner hoop and make sure that this part is not in the hole when you first put it on. And then you just stretch it on like that. Make sure the fabric's tight. Then you put it through the hole. Make sure it's secure. This is going to be a lot harder because I lost the screw that secures it. But normally after this step, you would put the screw on the end and you would tighten, and this part would push back a little until it is very, 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 very tight. But because of that, I'm just going to skip that part and hopefully wish for the best. Put the little end cap on. And there we have it. And there's my little design right here. This part, the A in the circle is going to be red, but the inner circle is going to be filled in with black, but that might be another day. we're just going to do the outlines first. So, our first color is a nice shade of red. And we are going to take a needle. I have another one that's also from a previous project yesterday with a paper flower. I think you guys might like it. It's really pretty. And, oh goodness, I wrapped it quite tight. Okay. Oh, it's curly. And I am just going to figure out how to get this off. Maybe I'll just use scissors anyway. Yeah, just... Oh, whoops, I keep doing it close to my body, but I got the previous thread off, and now we are going to take a reasonable length of red floss. And I say that would be perfect amount, so we just line up the edges and even it out. This extends past the frame of the picture, so this is quite hilarious. And I'm just gonna take my scissors and zoop. Now we get the needle again, thread one end, just like how I taught you how to thread your needle in the beginning. Only this time it's going to be used for a real project and not a demo. And we're just gonna get that in. Come on. And there we go. Oh goodness. Sometimes you get little mishaps along the way, just like I said before. Yeah. Just having little troubles, but don't mind me. We gotta even out the ends again. We've only got a little bit on the other side of the thread, so we just gotta pull it till the ends meet up. And there we make the knot. Maybe trim off excess if we feel so inclined. Now we go to the underside of our project, pick wherever we want to start. It would be most preferable to start on the out or the top. So I'm just going to start at the very point of the A for anarchy. Gotta love it. And zoom. Just like that, we have our first pull. And remember what the back stitch was. You go up and do your go up and down to do your first stitch, and then you go back through the previous hole to complete it. And that's exactly what we are gonna do. And if you do a good job, I will show you some of my previous projects. And like I said, you can make these stitches as small or as wide as you want, although it would waste some thread if you did it too wide, which is why I suggest you do it just a little bit smaller. I did accidentally do this one a little wider, so we are just gonna find that spot again. I'm no more than 3 stitches in, and I've already got a quality line right there. For me, there is nothing more joyful than the noise of the thread rubbing against the fabric when I pull it through during embroidery. It's almost like the sound of hair brushing. It's quite enjoyable, I tell you. Oops, the fabric puckered a little bit, so we're just gonna tug very gently. And I'm just gonna try to hold on to this as best as I can because of course I am missing the screw. And we go back to that little area, pull back through, go back through the previous hole. And you know, as embroidery has been around for 30,000 years, Many styles have developed from different cultures and through different time periods. Like, for example, paisley embroidery from Turkey and Rosenbalder from the Scandinavian area. Indigenous styles by Southwest Indigenous Americans, styles from the Tonga region and Polynesia, Shi embroidery from China, and there's one from Japan, but I don't remember the name of it, but we're just gonna take it and run with it, have fun. There's also different styles of embroidery for Germany, like you would see on the dirndls and the lederhosen, that sort of thing. There's different Slavic embroideries from the Russian and Serbia area. There's Nordic style from the Viking era. And there's a lot of pretty styles from the Tudor era, the Elizabethan era, and different points in the 18th century as well, with all the rich embroidery that you see on the clothes, such as jackets and waistcoats, sometimes stockings and breeches. And of course, the pretty chemise à la reine of the 1750s, or the sackbag. Oh wait, that was the robe à la France. Other than that, it is quite lovely nonetheless. And there were rich styles of embroidery also in the 1800s, which is the 19th century. And a lot of times, mothers would teach their young daughters how to embroider and sew by having them do samplers and teaching them all the techniques. And a lot of these have survived to this day. Some of them have the letters and numbers and then a sentence that says, I love how my mother and father think of me, or something like that. But there is one surviving example that was found in 2017. It was made in 1877 and it was hilarious, I tell you, when I read it. It had a rather rudimentary ABCs missing a few letters, had a button stitched onto it, and then it said, Emma made this in 1877 and hated every minute of it. I don't know about you, but some people were savage before it was even a concept. But I would enjoy that if I were given the chance. Not gonna lie. And somehow, some bits of embroidery have come back in some eras. Like, for example, that little guidebook of mine looks like things you would see in the early 2000s with a new boom in arts and crafts. The 2000s was defined by an era of creativity, like with crocheting and knitting and sewing, and also embroidery, and especially bedazzling. Oh my gods. I feel sorry for anyone who had to go through that. And also scrapbooking was a really big thing in the early 2000s. And now we're just gonna continue right here. Oopsie. We're almost done with the outer circle, and if I still have enough thread, I will start on the inner A. What a lovely sound. Such a pretty shade of red. Sorry, my glasses were being weird, but we all have that moment sometimes. Glasses gang, are you out there? My mom recently just got glasses yesterday. For any of you guys, that would be the past. Any of you guys watching in the future, that would be the past, which would be the 2nd of December, but today, in this video, is the 3rd. But nonetheless, we persist. And just like simple outlined symbols like this are very easy for beginners to do. Maybe in some other video we will tackle filling in our creations, and I can easily show you some where I have filled in my outlines to make a tangible, recognizable object or thing or creature, or whatever you want. We're just gonna start on the next one. Oops, I got caught on my finger for a second, but don't mind me. We are just gonna get that point right here. Back down through the previous hole. Take it slow if you need to. Work all at different levels, all at different abilities. Disabled bride. Whoops, that was weird. There we go. We're just gonna there we go. Oh, fabric puckered a little, so I'm just gonna there, loosen it up. Just gonna, and there, we are almost done. I can see that we're almost at the end, guys. Woohoo! Woohoo! And just like that, you finished your first project. Isn't this just lovely, kids? I mean, just look at it. And look how it feels. Well, if you can, but of course, just like I said, the backside will be ugly, but no one will see it unless you want them to. So, with the scissors nearby, we are just gonna knot the thread. Careful not to poke yourself. You're not a pin cushion. Pull, knot it. Snip it off as close to the knot as possible without actually cutting the knot, and we're done. Yay! I am so proud of you guys that you completed your first project, and I'm gonna show you some of my past projects now, if you don't mind. So my very first one was my initials with a little heart. It's not as good as I'd like it to be, but other than that, it looks just dandy. Then my second project ever was the year, although I messed up on that last one because I was running out of thread and I just wanted to get it done and over with. It's pretty nice. And then this was the first one that I had filled in, which is a little purple flower. Isn't he pretty? And then the next one I did was this little mushroom. I was originally going to make it a Mario mushroom, but I overdrew on the little dots, so it's just a regular one. Little Amanita Musafari. And this was my second most recent. I accidentally made him sideways on the fabric, so my mom likes to call him a little AF. If I just don't want to say any bad words because there might be little ones listening. And his eyes look like raisins. It's supposed to be the although it is stupid, the superstar from Mario. And then my favorite one of all time is this little Scarlet Macaw, Guatemalan Scarlet Macaw. You know, 5 o'clock somewhere, Iago sort of bird. I had completely sketched this from a picture, and I got little details with regular sewing thread in cotton. If you can see on that eye area, just right there. But I don't have gray thread, so I wasn't able to fill in the feet, but it looks just fine without it. Isn't he a cutie? Of course, this is my most recent one that I did for this video. Cool anarchy symbol. When all peaceful means have failed, anarchy will rise through. Na na na. And so that has been the basics of embroidery. Thank you. You guys did so great today, and thanks for following along. I hope you have a nice day and enjoy yourself with this new skill you've learned.